It's me, Laura, from The Paper Soul, and welcome back to my channel. We are continuing on with the Make a Journal with Me Sunflower series, and we are about to wrap this thing up. So what I have is, I have my journal, and it is really chunky and full because we have created a lot of fun elements together. I have so far 10 videos, and I think we'll be doing this one, which is going to be creating the cover and hopefully sewing it in. So this one might be a little bit longer. And then I'm going to do a video to show the walkthrough of the journal. So hopefully just 2 more videos and we'll be done. So I'm going to put that aside for right now. I do hope that you have had a chance to subscribe if you haven't already. You can hit the bell to be notified anytime I do release any new videos whatsoever, whether it's, crafting with me or make a journal with me or staying inspired or just showing you my journals that I've done, my flip throughs. So also I want to say I have been using the Sunflower Bloom Kit from Artymaze throughout this whole series. She has a beautiful kit. I'll put the pertinent listings below for Artymaze's, Andrea's kit, Etsy shop, where you can find all kinds of beautiful kits. And then also my link to my journal supply shop. So you can find lots of fun supplies for making journals in my shop. So what I'm going to start with first is kind of, I want to go ahead and start with it only because it is going to be drying, and it'll be the middle piece that sits in my cover, which I like to do, and then that will add me some pockets. So what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to go on and glue that, and then while we're doing other things and I'm showing you about the cover, this can be drying. So we're gonna get that done. I want to thank everybody who has been following along with me during this series. I want to thank all of my wonderful subscribers already, just for your support. I appreciate people leaving comments, and always feel free to leave a comment, share something with us all, how you do things, or if you have any questions, you're free to ask. What I did with this is I already measured the height of my cover, okay? And then I just kind of made sure it was going to be wide enough. And this will be where this is going to end up being the piece where my my journal gets sewn in. And then this will become a pocket, and this will become a pocket. So that's what that's all about. And let me get my little foam folder just to smooth that down pretty good while that's drying. I like to have it a little double thickness there. You know how I do, because I like to have sturdy pockets and whatnot. So that I'm going to set aside, and that can be drying, and we'll revisit that in a minute the closer we get. Okay, so obviously there's lots of different ways that we can create a journal cover. And one of the favorite ways I'm going to do is, and that I like to do, is with a clasp envelope, okay? And I'm just going to kind of show you with some small ones. This is like a 6x9. And I'm just going to kind of wanted to show you on the small ways, the small envelopes, the way I do mine. So this is what you would start with here, and then what I'm going to do is show you how I would stain it, okay? And I'm going to show you just real quick, and I think it's a good idea to stain it first. I also put Tyvek, Tyvek envelopes and stuff in mine. I'll show you. Like, that's Tyvek, and it's just real flimsy, but it's super strong. They make shipping envelopes out of them and everything also, and I'm gonna put my gloves on because this stuff really stains your hands. And so you can put that inside, and I'm going to show you what I do for that. But it's better to go ahead and I've learned to do your inking first. That way you're getting everything covered on your clasp envelope. If you glue and try to start gluing some things first, if glue gets on this, it will prevent you from being able to ink that up, and the gold will keep kind of showing through. So that's the only reason, you know, I do that. So I leave this flap open because I want to slide in that Tyvek. Okay. So let's just do one side, and I'll just kind of show you. Now, this isn't my idea. I got this. I saw Paula Lemon do this, and I think she had seen some people do it too. If not, if I'm wrong about that, then, but I think that she had seen people do it, and she showed how she did it. But this is not my idea. It's Paula Lemon. So, like I say, love her, and still love her, will always love her. So thank you, Paula. I've never forgotten this, and then this is how I do my, you know, clasp envelopes that make it look like a faux leather cover. So the first thing I do is I'm going to make sure I have relegated this little spongy, the long one with Tim Holtz Ranger, you know, inkers, and it has the rectangle foam. I have relegated this to my leather looking for the inking. So that just stays like that. I have some water, and then here's my ink. The ink color I have, Distress ink, is ground espresso. You can use Vintage Photo. You can use any color of ink that Tim Holtz has out there. I think I have even seen Paula do one with red at Christmas time, and it was really pretty, and I would love to try that sometime. You see that ink getting on my... So it was really, really, really pretty, and so, you know, I want to try some new stuff at some point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just wet this down, slightly just spritz it, and kind of get a water base over that. And I'll try not to do too much. But then I come along and I just kind of, and you kind of have to work fast, okay? Because I don't want that sitting too long. And then you just kind of smooth all of this ink around and start staining up your envelope. And this just works like a dream, an absolute dream. So, like I say, if you feel like, oh, I need a little more ink, you can do that, you know, just spritz a little bit of water. The water helps it to not overly stain and just absorb into the envelope before you have a chance to smooth it around. So that's what that does. You still can get some darker elements and everything, but like I say, all of that to me just makes it look, even though you're working really fast, it just makes it look like a really neat piece of leather. And that's what I love about it. So then what you would do at this point is you would, just wipe that off. What you would do is set that aside, let it dry, or you could use your heating tool with it and all of that. So I'm going to set it aside since we are moving along, and I'm going to show you what one looks. Then you flip it over and you do the other side. And then I'm going to show you what one will look like already dry. Excuse me. So let me take my gloves off. Yesterday, I was inking some extra ones up, you know, to get ready for this video. And I had ink all over my hands. I put my glove on one hand thinking, I'll be careful and I won't get it, you know, on me. But I did. And you saw, even around that ink bottle, it just got on me. So anyway, I'm going to take this off carefully because... And later what I'll do is I'll put these gloves back on and I'll just wash my hands. And then take them off and use them again. So it's good to have a pair of gloves handy in your room. Get ink on my hands. I actually didn't think the ink was going to come off between yesterday and the time that I needed to do this video with you. Okay, so what happens when it is dry? That's what it looks like. Okay. And so that looks really, really nice. Like I say, you can let it air dry on its own, or then you can just, you know, use your tool for drying. Before I glue this together, what I want to do is put the Tyvek inside it to just give it some extra strength. Now, you don't have to use a whole piece. You could actually cut a strip that you know, like you can kind of eyeball fold it and find the middle, and then maybe give about 2 inches or so of this, and you can just put it in the middle. Okay, so where you're going to be doing your sewing of your signature and sewing your journal into your cover. So you don't have to use this whole thing, but I just thought I'd show you. And then what I'm going to do, now that this is all inked up, it's good because even if I get glue on this, I can probably wipe it off since I use this. And, you know, it's not going to prevent that ink from already being on there. So that's why I did that. On this one, I'm just going to go ahead and just put a little glue. I'm going to see if I can slide this whole little piece of Tyvek inside it carefully. And I'm only going to just like have it glued to one side. And the side that I'm going to glue it to, because I think the glue can cause a little bit of wrinkling if you're not careful. And maybe what I also need to do is smooth the little dollops of glue out a little bit. Maybe that would help. Because I did another one and it ended up kind of being wrinkly when it was dry wherever the glue was. So that's why I may suggest do it to the inside, like in other words, do the glue up that's going to be next to this seam side of your envelope. And that way the outer side will be smooth, just in case that happens. So then I'm just going to open this up and I'm going to just slide that in. And I had already pre-cut this to kind of fit. Okay, so it's in there, and then just smooth it down. And like I say, that's just going to add a little extra thickness to it. Then we're ready to glue that flap down. Now, some people, like if you made a journal like this, you could leave that flap open if you wanted to and use it as a little pocket. So some people do that with their journals too. I have done that, I believe, with some real small ones before, but most of the time I just go ahead and just get this glued up. And then fold it over. And I didn't think this would be a bad idea to kind of try these out with you guys, showing it to you like this, because I will be having some more, you know, journals, and I think I'm actually wanting to do some mini ones, so this will be perfect, and I'll have these. Okay, so what I'll show you on this is the next thing you're going to do is you're going to put some Mod Podge. This is matte, but put some Mod Podge Sealer on it, and that will give it kind of a shiny, you know, look. It's still matte, so it's not overly shiny. There's different ones you can use. Satin, if you want a high glossy, you can use glossy, but I use matte, and that's shiny enough for me, you know. So I'm going to show you what I do when I do this, and this is what this looks like, just so you know what this looks like. It will try to start readjusting or redistributing some of the ink. It doesn't move it off, but you can you'll be able to see almost like a greenish look for some reason. I guess it's just picking up the ink. So I just get a little on there, and I just kind of lift it up just so that until you're ready to almost, you know, I just didn't want that to be sticking to this immediately. I'm wanting to use my wax paper there for the whole process as much as I can. So you can just kind of see like a little even. Make sure you get the edges good. And I try to do pretty smooth little brush strokes. So this is just what I do. It's just getting it covered. Now, let me do a little more. So you can see how it kind of has a greenish yellowy, and that's just the pigment. And right along this edge, it just seems like I'm not getting that good. So let me get that. Try to get any glops away. And then I'm going to try to keep it out of the stuff that's gotten onto this paper here. And then I'm gonna just barely hold on to it there and see if I can kind of keep this as neat as possible. Trying to keep the glue off the back until I'm ready to do the same treatment to the other side. Now, another thing you can do to make it easier is to paint one side of it and then come in and paint the other side. You could certainly do that. But I usually end up, you know, doing this whole thing at once and just try to maneuver my way around it, and wherever my fingers are, like right here, then I try to come in and smooth that. Okay, so this particular side is ready to dry. Might put a little right there. Just get it nice and smooth. Okay, so that is ready to dry, and then once that side is dry, I'm gonna flip this over so I don't get any sticky on the back, and I'll set this aside and let that be drying. Once that's dry, I'll flip it over and do the other side. So I'm gonna put this off to the side. Okay, so there you have that process, and the thickness of adding the Mod Podge. You've added Tyvek. Once you add that Mod Podge, it really helps to strengthen that envelope for you. So it's a really good thing. Now I've got my little water here. I'm just gonna try to clean my brush out because I hate to step away. Since I don't edit my videos yet, I just hate to step away and leave you with dead air there just staring. So done this before, and I just went on and brought some water in here to try to clean my little brush up so it doesn't ruin my brush. The Mod Podge will definitely, it can easily ruin your brush if you don't kind of keep it clean when you're done with it, and if you give it too much of a chance to dry, it will do that. So yeah, so I'll put that there, and I will clean this little jar up later and dry my area off. Okay, so now that we've done that, I'm going to pull in what I have prepped for my cover for this Sunflower Bloom journal. So this is what it looks like once it's dry, okay? And you can see I have a little more wrinkling because on this one I just did my Tyvek from here to here, and you can kind of see it showing through from the glue. It just adheres to it a little more. And so I thought, you know, I did that on the inside, you know, because I'm going to cover that up. So I went on ahead and also sewed a zigzag stitch in green all the way around the outside of it. And then some of the elements that I've already created, I think this is going to be my cover, so we'll show you that in a minute. And then what I did is I made some panels, and I made it out of paper, a pretty pattern paper, and then I backed it with coffee dye paper just to kind of make a little firm panel that's gonna go here. Okay, and I did sewing, zigzag sewing around it, and this one's gonna go over here. Now, the reason I have, instead of just putting paper across the whole thing, which I could have done, and I've tried that before, the reason I do separate panels is because it gives me less buckling. When I bend this cover, if it's all attached, it kind of wants to crinkle and buckle in the middle, and I don't want it to do that. I don't know what kind of, there is some ink that's getting on my little things, but those are going to be covered up because I've got a pocket. So that's where this is going to come in just a little bit. This is going to come in, and I'm going to punch these edges, and then we're going to have a little pocket on each side. And that also reinforces my spine where you have that, where you have the opening here. This is going to fit in here, and it's just going to add more strength to that spine as well. So you've already got tie back there, then you're going to have this. This is going to serve as pockets. And another reason I do it in sections like this also is to prevent the buckling when I'm trying to close the journal. So let's see what I'm going to do, because I'm trying to prep. I'm going to stand up. I'm trying to prep this and get the inside ready so that I can sew this journal in. And we're going to try to do that today as well. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take one of these, and I'm going to get my glue, and I'm going to put it all around, and then I'm going to stand up to place it where I want it to go. So first thing I do is I kind of go around a little bit of the sewing stitch part, just to make sure that's not gonna, even think about unraveling. And then I'm gonna glue all around. And like I say, Fabri-Tac is a very, very, very strong glue, and it really does well, holds up well. It's pretty impressive. So I feel really good about. I really do feel good about my my glue, my Fabri-Tac. So I do a good coat all over this, because when I put it down, I want it to stay down. And I'm going to stand up so that I can get an even edge when I flip it around. I want an even edge. So I'm going to kind of eyeball it. And I think that looks pretty good. And I don't mind, maybe I should bring that in just a little bit more to the side, because the reason I sewed it on the front is whatever side I sew it on is, like, to me, looks the best. And that's why I sewed these panels, so that the sewing, you'd have a sewing element in here as well, and then you got it sewing on the outside, and it looks pretty. So I'll just cover that up a little bit and get this down really good. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing. And like I say, I think there's some ink here and some ink here that got on my little cards, but they should be covered up with my pocket. Yeah. So anyway, there wasn't one on there, so I don't know when I did. I must have done that this morning. Did the other one last night. I'm like, where am I getting this ink? But I have had a lot of ink going on, that is for sure. So, just getting my glue all around. I hope you all have had a good weekend, and I hope that everyone is doing okay from the Hurricane Laura. And I'm telling you, this has been a year. It's just like we have something every single day to deal with, don't we? And I hope everybody's doing okay, you know, and can kind of get to being it's a lot. So just for myself, just trying to stay in prayer and try to keep things in perspective that way, and have a faith that God is watching over us and will protect us. That's all I can do, and I hope you're doing the same. So as you can see, adding these little panels in here like this is definitely going to add even more strength to that cover. Got a little glue on my hand there, so we're going to do this. Let's see. Okay. Very nice. All right, now this part should be dry by now. And so what I'm going to do, and like I say, I hope I've explained why I do this, because if this was all one piece and I start folding it, it's going to want to start buckling, and I do not like that buckling. That's why I do things like this. And plus, when I pop this in here, then I'm doing a dual, two birds with one stone, where I have pockets on each side. So that's why I do that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to edge punch this piece. Okay, so let's do that. I'm going to put this aside, and I'll do this on camera, and I hope my little punch is going to hold out for me. I really work these punches, that's for sure. But I can't believe August, today's the last day of August. My wordy. This whole year, whew, I can't believe it. Do the other side. And we'll do this. All right, and so I'm going to ink it. Just do like we always do. You can decorate this piece if you want to, like with some stamping. Do this. And I may do that. Let's see. Like kind of random stamping. Like, so let me think. If I were to do, you know, where you have I do like my little bee. And you know, you might want to do a bee, or I have a, let me see if I can find it. It's actually a French, or you could do, I could do butterflies. Let's see what we have. I have to look at, like, that's my first page, so kind of like you think, what would you want right here? Would you want numbers? Would you want script? You could do some scripting. That's kind of fun. And I could, yeah, I might do some scripting. Okay, so let's do that. Let's do that. I think what I'll do before that is I'm going to fold this and get my center. So we're just going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so there is my center. Fold it back that way. Okay, so there is my center. Make sure that's not buckling there. Okay. And let's see if we want to do some stamping. You know, you can do whatever you want. I think I might, I'm sorry to bump the camera. I think what I may do is the script, and it's just kind of a fun little scripting. And I may do just the brown, just to, it's going to be real subtle. So I'm not even going to put it on a little acrylic block. And I'm just using the Distress ink, and I'm just going to do a little as we go. Very subtle. Sometimes it'll just stick to your hand really well. That's pretty. And then on this side, I'll do the same thing. Kind of like that. And I may even do like that. Okay, so just really subtle, but something interesting there where it's not just plain. And it's something that kind of draws your eye in there. I'm gonna put this up. And I have to say, stamping like that with just your hand, you know, and just kind of just a little bit here, a little bit there, that's kind of fun stamping. I have to say, I enjoy that. Okay. So now we have that, and then I am ready to kind of put this here. And what I normally do, this is my question that I need to do. I need to make a decision. Do I just want to just kind of have that there and glue it up here and here for when I'm ready to do my pockets? Do I want, there have been times when I put it here before I did the sewing here, and that's fine too. I just didn't do it that way this time. You can just do it whatever different ways. I could come in and do a green little bit of sewing on each side of this so that you have the green continuity. So I don't really know that it matters. I do have my sewing machine set over there where I could just run a little on each one. So maybe I will. What do you think? I think I'll just do it. My machine is right here, so I'm not going anywhere. I'm just going to go around the table and I'm going to sew. So let me do it. One of these days, if I get myself set up where, you know, I can edit and sew and show you my sewing and all of that, maybe one of these days I'll get to that point. So we will get my machine set, and I hope you can still hear me. This won't take but a second. So, and hopefully this will kind of continue the continuity of that zigzag. Okay, so let's do the other side. Take but a second. All right. So it's just really quick. And I'm going to cut my machine off. And I'm back. Did you miss me? So I'm just going to snip these right here. Snip these ends. Throw that out. And make sure I get this right. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so now I did the sewing again, and I have it on here as well. And so that kind of keeps that continuity going. I had already kind of creased. I'm gonna double check it and make sure that my middle, where I have a little crease there. And when I open this up, I will just put this crease and line it up, you know, line them up together, and then line these edges up together. Now what I will normally do before, I will put glue right in here, okay? And that is going to get a little bit of glue just outside, you can see, just on each side of that seam there. So that will kind of be good, and I may even do a little bit onto those pockets. So let me go on and do that. Sometimes what I normally do is just one little stream, and then I'll worry about getting all the glue in there that I need. So there's several ways you can do it, and what I may do is, at this point, is just do a little line. Kind of a little line right down that middle, and a little on the side. So about 1/4 of an inch. And that's just enough to kind of get that down until I'm ready to sew it in with my sew in my signature. So see, I'm getting these even right there, and I'm sliding it up to the edge of these little panels. And making sure that's even down there, and it is. Take my bone folder, just kind of make sure that glue is getting in there pretty good. And I don't put too, you know, I could have put more, but I think what I'll do is I'll come back later and I'll lift up whatever I have and see how much glue I need to put in to kind of make sure that's going to be a good a good pocket. So we're just going to press that on down. And I'm just going to let that dry, because it does have to dry. So while that is drying, so this is what we have so far, and I leave these like that until I'm ready to cinch the pockets down. So that's what we have so far. And a lot of times I will go ahead and sew the signature in before I decorate the outside, okay? So that's what we're gonna do. I'll put that aside for now, and I'm gonna show you, I did make a few, I'll put it back. I did make a few little extra, you know, I had these left over. I don't know if you remember them, and I told you they may show up at a later time. So here's some journaling cards that I can tuck into these pockets. Here's an extra little booklet that I've inked up, and here's another little journal card. So I've got this one too, and I told you that one may show back up, and I've backed all of them, sewn around them, and I'm probably gonna put a ribbon or something on this one, and maybe find a place within the journal itself to, you know, to pop that in. Now, obviously it's super, super chunky, so it doesn't really need anything anymore, but it's just, you know how it is. You just kind of keep thinking, I could put that there, and there may be a little spot. There may be a little spot I flip through, and I'm like, yeah, I think that'd be pretty there. Like, it might be pretty in the back. Let's just see what it looks like. You know, just kind of sticking there. Or I might not use it. We'll just see. Okay, so while this is drying, I'm going to take, this is what I do, and I'm going to try to line this up and get it ready to be sewn in, because I'm going to go ahead and sew this in now. Okay, once this is dried, I'm giving it time to dry while we're talking, and then I'm going to prep and measure and show you how I do things. So by the time we do all that, it'll be ready to sew in. And it'll be ready to sew in. So what I do, this is what I do. I don't want all this thickness and bulk. I don't want all this stuff in here while I'm trying to sew it in. So what I do is I take all my loose pieces out, okay? And I flip them over and keep them in order. And I don't have to take these out, but I think I will. Sometimes I'll leave some things in and some things I'll take out. And the fun part about doing this to me is being able to look at all of the ephemera that has been tucked away into your journal. I crocheted that yesterday. I told you I would do that off of camera since I've already done a video on how I crochet on the edge of my pages, and I thought that was pretty, so that was fun. I got that done. I'll leave the paper clips in if I'm just paper clip something, because I know that something, you know, will go there. And usually I don't have a problem remembering where I've put everything. I think on this one I'll just pull that whole thing out and keep all that together. Pull that out. That one is glued in, so it stays in. I'll leave that paper clip there, but pull that out. I hope this is making sense to you. And like I said, just do it because I try to get rid of the bulk, so I'm not fighting with all of the stuff. That could probably stay in there. I doubt that's going to add too much. But this one I'll pull out. Pull this out. And take that out. Take all these little goodies out. This was my little guest check floating pocket with little charms on it. Put that there. this out. I think I will remember where this one goes on that pretty page there. Take this out. Take that out. This out. I'm going to just pull this off, and I'll know that that paper clip, when I leave that paper clip, I'll know something goes there. And I normally never have a problem remembering where everything goes. Okay, so now that is my journal. But it's still fun and full and pretty with elements and stuff in it, but it is nowhere near as chunky as it is with all of this stuff. Let's count what I have. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39. Not to mention when I put these in, so 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, possibly 43 or 44 pieces of ephemera that I have created for this journal. And that is always fun for me to go in and take a peek at. So then I just tuck those off to the side somewhere where they're safe. And now we are going to get ready to line these pages up. So for lining these pages up, the first thing that I do is I just start opening, and I just make sure that the pages are, you know, real close to the crease, each one. And I know this one, I've wanted my yellow to the top. Let me pull back. Get these lined up. I had decided to put my yellow higher, and I want to center them as well. So let's make sure this one's still good here, not shifted. Okay, fold it. Now I've got this one good, and I'm going to put all of that together. And I'll just do that. Bring this one over. Then I do that. Make sure those are good. So I kind of just hold it and press it down and do any kind of shifting and moving to make sure that all these creases are lining up. That's what I do. That's good. Good. This one I'm going to want it to be, so I'm going to pull that up. I want to keep this, my pressure on the bottom one there. I wanted to line that up a little bit better. Kind of center it basically. This little piece here. So I'm pressing down. Now line this one up. I'm doing this all the way over to the center of my signature. That is what I do. Just like that. Here is my, and so when you have the little shorter pieces and stuff like that, I may want that down. I might keep that one where it is, flush with the bottom of the page. So let's do that. And that way you get that little peak of color there. So that'll be fine. And then this one, good. We're getting there. That's nice and lined up. Let's center this just a little. My doily. And there we are, we're in the center. So then what I do is I take one of these big paper clips, a jumbo paper clip, and I keep that pressure on it so that it's not been shifted or anything like that. And I pop this paper clip on right here so that my whole section stays together. Okay? And I kind of press it inward and just make sure everything is doing good there. So that should not be going anywhere. Okay, so now what I will be doing is prepping and punching the holes into these pages, okay? And this is just like a little time-consuming thing, but you know, I gotta make it through all these little pieces here. So what I do is I get my trusty Tim Holtz ruler, and this is one reason I love this ruler so much, because I put the zero right here. They've got it where it's in the zero, and then you can measure outward. So it works really nice here. So here I am at my crease. I may put my glasses on for this part. So I've got my pencil. I'll bring this in. And normally what I do, I just kind of make sure my little pages are not shifting or anything like that. Once I put my little paper clip on. What I do is I try to get, you know, this centered. And to find that, I come out and I look, and I'm close to my 3s here. So if I put, looks like we got 3, 3, and there may be a little extra beyond that 3, so almost like an 1/8 on each side. So that's what I try to do. I just try to get it as even as I can, and I think that's gonna do it because I've got a 3 with a little bit sticking out over here and a little bit sticking out over here. Do one other thing, make sure that's even. Make sure they're about the same. So, you know, I just take my time with this part because 3. So it's 3 1/4 and then some. 3 1/4 and then some. And so I want to pretty much get that even. Okay. So that's where I mark. Now my 0 is in the middle, and I mark my first mark. Usually, since this is a smaller one, let's see what I can do. Usually I like to go about 1.5 inches between the next hole and the next hole. But I always do five holes for a 5 pamphlet stitch. So then let's see what we have. 1.5 would be here, and then 1/2, and 1 would be way up here. So what on this one, since it's a smaller one, I may do 1 1/4 inches. And then if I did 1 1/4 inches, that'd be pretty good. So we're gonna do 1 1/4 inches, and I mark that, and then 1, 2, 3, that's 1.25 inches. So that's good. So we're going to do the same thing on the other side. We're going to do 1.25 inches, mark it in the middle, and then 1.25 inches is here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1/4. So those are all marked. Okay, each of my holes are marked. So now what I like to do, I don't have to have this, you don't have to have this, but it just kind of helps me when I'm doing punching with my little pokey tool. It just kind of helps. So I just kind of hold this even my pages again one more time and try to get them pressed down and hold them in place so that when I punch, things are going to be nice and even. You're going to want to make sure that you are punching straight, nice and straight. So I'm going to find the hole there in the seam and pull this over. But I'm going to make sure that I keep this angle straight as best I can. And make sure I have enough there. And I'm going to put my glasses back on. I took my glasses off, but maybe I need them. So here we go. We're going to do this first one. And you know, I'm not gonna lie. This can kind of be a little bit of a scary part to this because all this work, and now you're in here punching holes. So it's a little crazy. So I'm going to find that center hole first. And I kind of pinch this other side and I look to make sure that my angle is going to be straight. I don't want it to come like that or that. I just want to try to make sure I'm punching as straight as I can. So that's the goal. And then I just start pushing through and I kind of push through real gentle, but just slowly. And then there you are. You've got that little piece coming out there right in the middle of the seam, and that's good. That's how you want it. You want to keep these pages even. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to go into the next hole. Same thing. Keep it straight and steady. Pinch this so it's real close, so these seams are really staying as close as possible. And then slowly just keep pushing. Take your time with it because you want it to pop out in the center. And there it is. Again, nice on that. That's coming out very nice on that center seam. So I'm going to go on and punch it through and then pull back. I'm going to do this on the other side now. Try to keep everything even. Nice and straight. Get a hold of the pokey tool really good. Pinch this really well and then slowly apply your pressure. You do want to be careful and make sure that your fingers on the outside are gonna not get in the way of that punching through. Okay, and I've got 2 more to do. I think I'm going to go and do this one down here. Slowly push and apply pressure. There we go. All right, and one more to do. One more to do. And like I say, I just take my time on this and I go slow as I can because when you're poking holes, you know, it's a little nerve-wracking and you don't want to to mess up. You don't want it to go sideways or anything like that. So let me do this. What? Try this. Okay. And push forward. Got it pinched. Take your time. If you sometimes you'll start to feel like you're losing your grip on your pokey tool, but you just keep on. Keep applying the pressure. Make sure it's straight and even. And there we are. There it is right there. There we go. All right, so now I have all my holes punched in this piece, okay? And the next thing I'm gonna do is punch holes in this. So I'm gonna set this aside. And now I'm ready to do the same thing with this one. I wanna make sure I have it upright. That's gonna be my front where I'm gonna decorate. That's my back. And all of that is ready. So this is probably dry by now, I'm quite sure. Get my ruler. Find my little 0 there, and then just start making this even on the ends. So it's close to 3.5 and then some. I'm gonna take this out first. So let's see, we were at 3.5 over here, then 3.5 over here, and then there's still, I could do it, I could probably do it with just this part. It's just however, it just needs to be even on the, or I'll go all the way out to the edge. So let's see, 3.5, 3.5, and then some. Or, yeah. Three and a half and then a little. 3.5 and then a little. Yeah. I'm actually going out to the very edge is what I'm doing. So it's 3.5, 3.5, a little bit, 3.5, a little bit. That. Okay. I feel pretty good about where that is. Like I say, measure a couple of times before you, and just make sure 3.5 and a little bit. And this one's 3.5 and then a little bit over. And I think that's pretty good before you start, poking holes, because once you poke the holes are there. And what did I do? I went 1.25 inches. And then 1, 2, 3, 4 1/4. And then on the same side, 1.25 inches. 1, 2, 3, 4 1.25 inches. Okay, sure. It's 1/4, and yeah, 1.25 inches. Yeah, so you just want to make sure there are. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so everything's been measured the same, and now I'm going to poke the holes in my cover. And I just come in. You also could use this if you wanted to and just kind of go straight down. this one. That. And this one. Okay, so now I have all the holes poked, and we are going to get ready to sew this signature in. This is getting exciting. So I do have some yellow, this is crochet thread. That's what I use. You could certainly use all kinds of things. I think some people use wax linen, thread, gosh, what else? I mean, other people may use other types of strings and stuff that you can use, and I just use this, and it's always worked just perfectly. I picked a yellow color because, you know, my yellow theme, and it'll be yellow back here. I am going to probably put some lace on this one. I just thought that might be pretty, so it's not going to show, but it'll be in the middle, and I thought in the middle of my signature, you can see I have the yellow here, so I thought that would be pretty. So that's what we're going to do there. Now, to make sure I have enough, normally what I do is I take the thread and I string it about 3 times the length of this. And 3. And sometimes I might add just a little extra, and then I snip it. And that will usually give me, that definitely gives me enough for all the stringing in and out that I need to do. So that should be plenty. And then this is also, I was going to tell you, it's a cotton crochet thread, and it is size 10. This is what I do my crochet doilies and flowers with, and I use a needle that is got an eye large enough to accommodate this crochet thread. Okay, so then I bring my book in. So here's my signature, my journal, and we are ready. And I'm always double check and make sure all of this is lined up. Remember, I did stamping on here, so I want to make sure my stamping, you got the right. Look on the cover, make sure that's the side that you want the front on. Look at the stamping, make sure my stamping's even, which it is. And then we're going to be here lining this up. Okay, so I'm going to open it up here, and the first thing I'm going to do is get this through. I may need, and a lot of times I leave this side open so that sometimes I might have to just needle each page individually, because I don't want to just go stabbing, even though they should be lined up. Sometimes they get a little shifted, and so I like to just be able to flip each page and everything like that, just to make sure I'm getting the hole on each page. Now sometimes, see how I fold it, and then I can see that I'm going into this next hole perfectly. I'm in the next hole perfectly, the next hole on each page. Just want to make sure it's lined up. And I just go really slow, y'all. Now, some of you may be able to just fly through it. This is just not a part I want to fly through for sure, because poking holes, and you could easily tear it if you're not careful. It's just so many things. And when you've worked on something this hard, I just want to make sure I'm very careful and methodical about it. And I don't mind taking the time, because if you take the time, it's going to look really nice when you're done. It's going to be all lined up and look nice and professional. Okay, so I have made it through the journal. in the middle center hole. Double checking that, making sure everything's upright, and then I'm going to take it and go through the middle of my cover, and then I pull. Now, how far I pull, I will leave a tail as I pull through. I'm going to leave a nice tail here, and I tuck it under that paper clip and kind of keep it taut, and that actually really does work well. So now what I'm going to do is turn it, and again, I'm always going to turn it where I can kind of flip through these pages on this side. These are cinched down, so they shouldn't be moving. And then I'm going to come through, and I like to work at the top, so come up here to the top next is what I'm going to do. And I'll just go ahead and get it through the cover. Get that through the cover first. And then, and like I said, you have a little movement going on at first, but that's just because nothing's cinched down yet. And so then I'm going to start and find this next hole here. And I get that going. And I'm basically threading the paper on. That's what I'm doing. That's basically what I'm doing. Just kind of finding the hole of each one and have that needle through there, because I just don't want to be poking any extra holes than I've already done. I've already poked a hole, one hole through each page, and I don't want to like get off and then have another hole over here or anything like that. That's what I'm trying to avoid. So that's why I like to just take my time. I find my tip of my needle, and then I just, you know, putting it through like that. It's just a little movement on this side, just to line it up. Now, some of you may be able to just like go all the way through all the holes really quick and all that, but I have had some little mishaps with that, and where it just got off, and I just like to just thread it one page at a time. It is worth it to me to do that. And it also reduces some of my frustration. Now, I'm not saying I don't ever get frustrated with this process, because, you know, but I've gotten better the more I do it, you know, the more you just kind of take your time. Get my doily there. And get this page there. So we're in the middle, and I'm going to go on and pull this through tight, and make sure this string is staying kind of stuck up under that big paper clip. Okay, so now you can see I have that. My little fingers got glue and stain on them. Forgive me. You can see I've came in through here, and I'm coming back through. So now I'm in the center again. So now I'm going to go up to this hole. Okay? So I'm just going to start again like I did. Go through there. And I kind of lift the pages up and guide my needle through each of these pages. And that is all I do. hope y'all don't mind. I'm concentrating. Okay, I made it through, and I'm going to pull. Okay. Okay, so I've gone in, come in through this hole. Now I've gone out through that hole. And now I'm going to make it back through this one, okay? So this way you have to be a little careful, because since there's already thread in there, I don't want to split it with my needle. So, again, you're having to be pretty careful with this. I'm always getting the loose pages next to me that I can work with and manipulate. So what I'm going to do, I've got this up here. I'm going to come into here. So I'm going to come through my cover first, and I'm going to try to be really careful and come in through the hole, but without going through my thread. And I can see where my thread is here, and I'm going to try to go through this first paper here without going through that thread. So I don't know if you can see my needle right there. I'm going to pull back, and there it is. And each time I want to make sure that I'm just beside the thread as I put the pages, flip the pages onto the needle. Just don't want to go through that thread. I'm right beside it, but I don't want to go through it. Because if you shred it, then you're not going to be able to tighten up your pages good, and I don't want to do that. You want to be able to tighten up your thread really nicely and taut so that your book is nice and secure. But if I shred through some of that thread, I won't be able to do that, and then I'll have to pull it out and start it again. And I hope I don't have to do that with you guys. I'm really trying to avoid that by taking my time and paying attention. And here, let's see. Still think I'm good. Okay. That's pretty good. I think I did all right and didn't get in the way of that thread. Okay, so, and I'm going to show you, I think I have a chart that I wrote down, and I had to kind of adhere to this. And I'll try to show you that in a minute, that tells you the direction of going in and out and which one way to do. So we've gone through the middle, then we came through the hole above it, then we came through this one, and now we're going through, around and in between that one. And now I'm going to bring this all the way down to this hole. Okay, so we have this one right here. So now we're going to do that. And like I say, a lot of the tightening up and cinching up gets done at the end, once you've gotten it all the way run through. So see, what I'm doing, I don't know if you can see it really good, but what I'm doing is I'm lifting the pages up so that I can make sure I'm getting in the hole that I punched already. And then I just go straight down into that next page. That's how I do it. I kind of lift it up a little bit. getting there, y'all, and I appreciate your patience, but, you know, if you're new to this and haven't done it before, this might help you. I hope it will. If you've already done it, and maybe this is an area that the actual sewing in is the part that just drives you crazy, or it's like, oh, then maybe this can inspire you of just an easy way to do it. And that you'll have success with that as well. It's just not a part that I want to rush through. You know, it's just not. And I usually try to take my time to do it also because I don't want to do it more than one time. Once I do it, I want to do it. And I have had to take it out before and redo it. And that's kind of a bummer, but you just work your way through if that happens to be the case. Okay, so now what we've done is we've brought it all the way down here. So now it's on the outside again. Turn it towards you where the pages are loose and you can maneuver them. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here at the very bottom. So here I am, and I'm going to come in here. So I'm going to do my cover first. Okay. And then I'm going to start doing my pages. I tell you what I'm going to do. Let me go back through because I don't normally like to pull it all the way through my cover. That way I can kind of keep control of it while I'm putting it through those pages. So let me just I put it all the way through. I don't want to put it all the way up. I want to kind of still hang on to it out here so I can control this needle in there. So now we can get going on this. And this. So see, sometimes I'll overshoot it and my needle's way up there, but what I'll do is that lets me pull back and just kind of find the spot. And then I'm just taking my time one page at a time. There we go. I'm gonna be so excited. I am excited trying to get this this journal done. It's been a fun process, you know, doing this on camera with you. I've never done one in this amount of detail before on camera. I did one a while back, but it might have not been to this level of detail. I think I didn't do that. So let's see, where are okay. And this last little page. There we go. So now we are pulling this through. My needle came off. That's all right. Okay. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I've got to go through this hole. So I'm going to go through this hole and it'll be on the back again. And then the last hole will come up is in the middle. And so then we'll have it. So I'm going to go back through here. So now this is going to be another one of those where, since there's already, I kind of try to pull it tight at this point, or get it a little tighter, because I'm going to try to pull this a little bit tighter. If I pull that tighter, then that is keeping that piece of thread a little over to the side so that I can try to avoid it when I am running through here like this. And let me check, make sure. Yeah, I think you're able to see me. Trying to stay in frame for you. So here we go. And if it loosens up again, that's okay. It's not going to be totally tight until I have finished, but the biggest thing is I don't want to split that thread as I'm going back through. So I kind of make sure I try to stay over to the other side of that hole and just try to avoid splitting that thread. So that each page I go through, I'm trying to be really careful. This one. Yep, I think that's good. So now I'm ready to pull this through. And I've got one more to do, and that is bringing it to the center, okay? So let's do it. Now, this particular string is on this side of this string here, okay? When I get this through here, I want the string I pull through to be on this side. So I'll be cinching over that middle thread there. All right, so let's do this. I'm going to get it going through the, pull it, and I'm going to get it going through the cover first. And make sure that I am not getting the, poking that thread. I don't want to split that thread at all. I want to stay away from it. That's probably the trickiest part about all of this. And again, the reason I try to go really slow. Another reason. And I really hope you don't mind me doing this and taking the time that I am. This is what I do, and so I wanted you to show you what I do and how I do it. And this is really what I do. And how I make it happen. So there's a lot of time that goes and that's involved in journal making. Of course, it all depends on how much detail you put into a journal, how much work you put into a journal, effort, embellishments, what have you. So it does kind of vary. Certainly there are many that you can do and put them together really fast. And then, of course, the more detail you put into it, the more time it takes. And that's okay. All of the above is okay. So get that doily. And here I am here. So sometimes what I like to do is just make sure I'm pulling on that just to make sure I didn't go through that string at all, and I didn't, because it's able to move. So here we go. And we are on the other side of that string. And I can take my needle off because now I've got it all in there and all lined up. That's my front. Okay, so now I have the strings are loose. Okay, and what I like to do is tighten it. So this was the one that I first went in with, and I may go ahead and just keep that, rethread that under there to hold that tight. And then what I'm gonna do, this was the first one here, so what I'm gonna do, it came in here, I'm gonna pull this, then I'm gonna pull this, then this comes back in here, and I'm gonna pull that. Then this comes out here, and so I'm gonna pull that. Then pull this, then pull this, and then pull that. And that tightens it all up for you, okay? So that you have, if you had your journal closed, you've kind of got a nice feel of tautness, you know, for your signature. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5 whole pamphlet stitch. So now that that's nice and taut, I'm going to tie this off in a knot. And usually one string will be a little bit longer than the other, and a square knot, if I'm not mistaken, is when, this is my shorter side. So I'm gonna take my shorter side over, my shorter piece of string over, and tie it like that. Then I'm gonna find my longer piece, and I'm gonna take my longer piece and put it over, and do like that. And that gives you a square knot. Okay, so what you can do with your strings in the middle, some people will hang like jewelry or beads down here, or a charm down here. And then, you know, some people do butterflies. I might do butterflies on this one. I haven't done just butterflies on a string in a while, so I think that's what I'm gonna do. And I will just go ahead and do that off camera. Basically what I do, I'll just punch it with my butterfly, and I may do some of the colors in the book that I used, and I'm probably going to cut my strings to, I may not cut them yet, I may just cut them right there for now, but what I will, they'll be a little shorter so that the butterflies will stay in the book. So we'll deal with that, and that'll be something you see when I do my reveal. Sometimes I will take some of my glue, and I may add just small little dots of glue of the Fabri-Tac to the inside here, just to kind of tack everything down, okay? So now we have that. I'm going to try to be careful taking this off so it doesn't scrape my card. So I'm going to lift that up, and just gently slide it off. My big old paper clip. These things are so handy, I must say. So very handy. Just try not to scrape that element. There we go. Okay, but they're really nice, jumbo. And I have a package of about 5, and they're perfect. All right, everyone, so now we have this in here. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I can glue this down really well and get me some pockets going. So let's do that. So I'm going to go ahead and glue all this part, okay? Because I'm not going to want that at the back of the pocket. So I'm going to go in and do this, put some glue here. And then I'm also going to put some glue, just like I was going to do a regular pocket, out onto this here. And then I'm going to bring my glue up here and put my glue down here. Just to make a nice pocket. Okay, so we're going to do this. And this. Like I say, I have sewn this on like that before. It seems to do pretty good too, like that too. And take my bone folder and just kind of make sure that glue is getting in there. Okay. That. Same thing on this side. Just kind of pull it back. And this way, by doing it like this, you know, I'm able to just try to really keep it from being a situation where it buckles. I've really had to work with that because early on I really had some buckling issues and I didn't like it, you know, and so I've really tried to think how I can kind of manipulate and control some of this paper a little bit better and get a better control over it so that I don't have that buckling. And I use a fair amount of glue on this part because I just don't want the pocket to start being a problem. You want this to be nice and secure. And then this. You want that to be a nice sturdy pocket. Get some of that excess glue off. If it kind of oozes out a little bit, that's okay. That's why I like this. It's so easy just to rub it. If you're dealing with it before it's totally dry, it's so easy just to rub it. And it just balls up and comes right off. I like that. Okay. So these will need to dry and give them time to dry. The thing that you can do also, knowing that my little cards, there was a little space here, you could, if you wanted to, you could score this kind of like that and then score this along like that, just a little over, and just kind of give you a little more bendability here for your binding, and that way it's bending really well. You don't have to. I think this one will be fine without it, but if I have to do it, I'll let you know. Alright, when these dry, I'll be, you know, popping in some of my, I put this one here because that's pretty. And then this one in the back, you know, like that. And maybe another little journal card like that. See? So that's how that'll be. But I'm going to let them dry first because I don't want them to get stuck. And I'll let that be in the final reveal, and I'll also figure out if I'm doing anything with that one or not. Okay, so then I start putting all my fun little elements back in. Now, I don't have to do that yet. Yeah, I could. It doesn't matter. But I think what I'm going to do is I am going to start putting my elements in. Only because, or I could go ahead and decorate. Let's decorate before I put that in. So I have a few things here, and I actually thought I would try to keep this simple. I backed, kind of reprinted this out because I thought it was a really pretty image, and it was hard to decide what image because they're all so pretty in this Sunflower Bloom kit of Artymaze's. So I cut this one out. I backed it with that pretty yellow paper, which is the same paper that I have in here on the inside cover. And then I backed it again with some coffee dye paper just to give this little card a little thickness so it wouldn't be so flimsy. And then I sewed it with some green zigzag trim around it. And I thought that'd be pretty right there. Now, I had thought of covering this whole thing up, you know, with another color right here. But I decided to leave the brown because it reminded me of the center of the sunflowers, the little brown, this seeds and everything that they have inside of the center of those flowers. So I thought that brown would represent that and just keep it with the leather look. So I'm going to come in and do my ribbons here. And so before I start putting that down, let me go on and do that. At least get them out. So I've got my little eyelets here. So I'm gonna do 2 of them. I need to get me some more. Still have enough, but I'm getting low. So let me put that up. Okay, so I've got those set there, and the other thing I have is my seam binding that I'm going to do, and it's a moss green, and I thought that would be pretty. So we'll be doing that in just a second. I'm going to put this over here. So first thing I want to do is get this on. Okay, I'm going to get this on, and I'm going to center it. And the other thing I was wanting to do was put some lace. And I thought this lace was really pretty. Let's get the right side. Yeah. So this is, I was going to try to put a piece of lace on the spine, kind of like that. And if I do that, then let me just see where, if I center this, let me just see where that lace is going to come. Yeah, that's pretty. So it could come just a little bit over it. That'll be really, really, really pretty. Let's see if I center that. Pretty much center. Yeah. Okay. So let's center this first. And I'm going to use my glue. And glue this all up. Make sure it's, you know, double check, make sure this book is straight up and down, which it is. You want to get it right. You don't want to glue your picture on, your focal picture on backwards. Don't want to do that. So get it nice and glued up. Because I really want that on good. So once again, check that I'm got my book right side up. I'm going to stand up for this part simply because I like to be over it good enough. And I'm pretty much going to center this as best I can. Okay. I think that's pretty. That is pretty, 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 pretty. So then just start pressing it down really well along the edges, all over, just to make sure it is going to be nicely adhered to the front of this journal cover. And that's what I do. If you ever find later on, after it has dried, if you ever find later on that, hey, there's a little edge still that's sticking up, you can take a toothpick and put it into your glue a little bit, and then just kind of stick the toothpick down in there and get the glue in there without pulling it up too much or anything like that. So I do try to press down all around really well. And there you have that. Okay. So there you have that. Now I'm going to do something fun on the back. So I've gotten to where I kind of like to, I have a little fun doing something on the back too. And I thought sometimes I'll do something at a little angle. Got to figure out how I want this. Do I want it up here? Up here? Kind of down here? I got to figure out where I want it, but I'm going to do a little pocket. So it's just kind of fun to have something interesting on the back. I could have easily done, I just left the leather look. I could have easily done the, you know, more paper to decorate that, but I just like the leather look. So what I have here is a piece of kind of a minty blue burlap, and I have one of these other little tags from my guest check, and I thought I would glue that on there, so let's do that. I inked it up a little bit, and I have a pocket in there that looks like that I used with one of these little receipt pieces off of my guest check. So I thought, well, I'll just do something on the outside like that, and that'll kind of tie that together. So that's going to go all over on that, and then I've got to figure out where I want it. Put it down here for interest. Put it up here. So if we put it here, and I'm going to put that there. So this is one of the little ticket elements from Artymaze from this kit, Sunflower Bloom, and I just thought that'd be cute to just stick that on the back and just have something to decorate the back. I just thought that would be fun. So I might do it there, or do I want it down here? I think I'll do it down here. So what I'm going to do now is just put a little bit of glue kind of here, here, and here. And this is glopping, so let's see if we can get some of that off. And this, hopefully that can kind of keep that from fraying anymore also. And then this. And I'm just going to kind of put it catty corner. I could put it straight. What do y'all think of that? That might be cute too. That's where do I want it? I may put it actually like that. I may, yeah. No, well, hold up. I'm gonna tell you why I'm gonna wait. The reason I'm gonna wait on that, if I do that, I need to bring it over, or if I do that, I could put it here in the back. There's gonna be some there's going to be some lace there, so I don't want that to crowd that. So let me go back to what I was going to do and kind of put it there. And I'll have to get this off because this is my glue. Okay. So there you have that, and then when that dries, I will put that in there like that. And so we'll just have like a little, something fun little element on the back of it, okay? And I keep getting glue on this, so I'm gonna have to keep getting that off. Every time I touch it, I get glue, so we'll get that off. Okay, so that's gonna be a fun element back there. And then let's do our lace. And then I'll come back. I'll have all my elements inside my journal, and we will do a flip through of the journal. What do you think? Okay, I'll have that taken care of because, like I say, let's get a little bit of glue off that. Yeah, let's put this lace on. This is getting fun. Oh, and then I'm also, I need to do those. So I'll do that with you in just a second. So this is turning into a long one, but it's how a journal gets made. It takes time. So a lot of times what I'll do with my journal is I'll set it up like that, and I kind of want my lace to be even. And what I'll end up doing is I'll get this started first on one end, and I'll just kind of put a little glue. A little just to get it started. And have it started and hanging on there. So let's get it centered. I mean, this one's an easy one to center because of the these little guys right here. Those little, that keeps it nice and centered. Make sure it's even up there. And I'll just tack that down just a little bit. And I guess at this point I could, a lot of times what I'll do is wait to cut it off here just to make sure I don't have to adjust it or anything like that. So what I'm gonna do, once I get that started, is I lift this back. And I end up putting a little bit of glue on those middle flowers that's helping me to center it. That's what I do. I'll make sure I got the right side. It was scaring me for a second. So that's what I do. And you know, you don't need a lot. I'm not wanting to glop it that much at all. I don't want it to be too gloppy. So I'm just making sure it's centered. And just enough to hold it. Now, you can leave your lace to just kind of be a little free-flowing if you want, but a lot of times I'll also come in and maybe dab some here, here, and here just to tack it down. So I can come back and do that in just a second. Just make sure this is even. And then I'm going to want to trim this. I think what I'm going to do is put a little glue on each side here just to, I could just put it directly on the book. I think I will. Just a dab and a dab on each side just to kind of get it going, get it adhered. That's what I do. And I'm not pulling it too tight. I just want it nice and even. And then that's kind of adhered there. So let that dry just a teensy, or just sit for just a second. Let me get the glue off my hands. So it's getting close to making some fall journals now, isn't it? And y'all probably, I think some people are already starting to do that, and I want to get ready for that myself. Okay, so now that this is nice and even, I'm going to just follow the book a little bit and just kind of trim this. That's what I'm going to do. And then make sure I follow this. There we go. Okay. And now if I want extra, you know, a little dab, extra security, which I believe I will do, I just put a little bit on these flowers. Let me get this excess off. I just put a little on the flowers, a little stickiness there. And same thing here. Just a little. I don't put it on all of it, you know, I'm not glopping it on. I just want a little bit. Very little. And just kind of gently tap it down. I'll do the same with the other side. Just on the flower part, I try to keep it off of the galls if you're using lace that has a gauziness to it, because you don't want to be able to see the glue. You want it just really, just barely enough, you know, light enough so that it's just doing the trick for you. Okay. Make sure it's nice and smooth and pretty. I think that's pretty. See? Pretty. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these eyelets in, and I got to figure out how much. A lot of times, because now I could go ahead and put all my elements back in if I wanted to, and that way you can know if you've got, but I think usually what I do is I will double this at 18 inches. So like measure, let's see if I do 36. Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll measure a yard. I don't know if I do that much though. Wait a minute, I might not do that much. That would mean this much for, that's a lot. That's a lot. Let me do, what do I normally do? I know I think I've gotten to where I normally do a certain side or length, and then I double it over. Let me measure, let's see. Let me measure, I'm going to step to my measurer and measure 20. So if that's 20, it's still a lot. Let me measure. 15. If I measure 15 and I double it, that's good. Sorry about my hand. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. So let's just cut that. And then I'm gonna do another length. So I did about 15 and doubled it. 15 inches and doubled it. This should be enough. So then I'm just gonna measure that full length and cut another one for the other side. So that way I have double ribbon. This is moss green. I have that in my shop. I crinkle my ribbon in my shop. It's crinkle ribbon, but you don't have to have it crinkled if you don't want to. That's just kind of how I've been doing it. But so you could crinkle this before you do your tie and everything like that. So I've got my ribbons here, and now what I'm going to do is put my eyelets in. And I do use my ruler for that. And I measure with my ruler like I did a while ago with my holes. And I just kind of, like I could probably put one, fit one here in the round part and not have to go into that. And that's what I want to try to do there. So don't want to do that. So we're going to measure with my ruler 3.5, 3.5, 3.5. You might not be able to see that great while I'm over here. It may be, yeah, it's a little more than 3.5. Let's see. Just a smidge on each side. So 3, here's my 0. And I come out 3.5 and a little bit. And this is over here, 3.5 and just a little bit. So I think that's perfect. So it just helps me find my center. So my center is here. I'm going to keep it on the brown part here. And I just put a small little pencil mark right there. Erase that one. Small little pencil mark right there. And as long as I can come in between the middle here, between the sewing that I've done and this paper, and put a hole there, I'm good. And I think I can probably do that without cutting anything. And we've talked about this before, my crocodile, and this is a 3/16 of an inch eyelet that I'm putting in. So I got to punch my hole first, and I do need to make sure my hole, yeah, that should not go over into my, I'm going to use my glasses for this because my pencil mark is very light. And we are having a very cloudy day. Let me see. Yeah, that's my pencil mark right there. Come in enough and center it so as not to cut my I don't want to cut my paper, and I don't want to cut my thread. I don't think I am. It's a little close on the other side, so what I'm going to do is push it up just a little bit more. Just a smidge. Ooh. Okay. That should do it. Put my hole there. And I'm going to put my eyelet in there, and we're going to cinch that down. Okay, nice. And then we're going to do the same on the other side. Now, if you wanted to eyeball it, I could eyeball it here, but I still like to measure. I'm going to pull that out so that doesn't get stuck. So let's do that again. Here's my 0. We're at 3.5 and then some. And then my it's going to be here. A little pencil mark there. So sometimes I'll be like, okay, how close did I come in here? Not quite a 1/2 inch all the way in. But I just need to make sure I clear that, and let's see where we are. And I always have to do I have to stick my pokey tool in here because the paper will get stuck and I can't see my mark. So, pencil mark, let me make sure. Pencil mark. Oh. I didn't really mark it hard enough, so I want to make sure I got it right. That right there. Okay. Okay, so I cleared. Oh, I know what I can do just to make sure. I can see how much I cleared from here to here, and it's about, the hole would probably be about almost 1/4 inch. So I actually could do that here and say, if that's the center, that'll be good. Okay, here we go, y'all. It's just good to measure and be sure and double check. Make sure you're clearing the, and I kind of like put it down and make sure I'm clearing the thread on both sides. And I am. Just do a little there. There we go. So I got my hole. And now I have my eyelet. And now I cinch it. There we go. So now I have my eyelets in. And I'm going to put my ribbon in. I double it. I will put fray check on these guys. Let's see. I put that folded in through it. I just do that lark's head, not like I always do. Then I put all this through it. And then I pull. And then the other side, same thing. I got my folded part. Put that through. Open that up. And then I just kind of pull, what I do is kind of pull it like that so I get that part cinched close to that, and then try to pull it like that, and it's just real easy to do and nice and smooth. That's what I tried to do on some of my ribbons, but it didn't work. But now you can see that you have a good amount of ribbon to tie. And there you have it, okay? So then I have my little pretty sunflower tag back here, just for something fun and interesting to look at. All right, so I think what I'm going to do, I will load up all of my goodies that I have had here waiting during this video. All my wonderful ephemera and fun and journal cards and journal spots and whatnots that I have had. And I'm going to get all that loaded up, and I'm going to do butterflies on a string in the middle. And then when I come back, our next video is going to be, you've now seen me do the cover. Like I say, you will usually, what I will do is I will just tie both of these together and just tie them in a knot. That's what I usually do, okay? And like I say, you can keep the ribbons as long as you want. You can crinkle them if you want to, but crinkle them before you put them in, or you can take them out and crinkle them if you decide. So my next, that is my cover. I don't think I'm going to add anything. I may add a name tag to it or something. We'll just see. We'll just see. But that's going to be in my journal reveal, which should be my next journal. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope it has helped. I know it was long, but it's just all a part. I think it's also important for people to know how much time journal making can take. It does take time. It takes a lot of time, lots of steps, especially if you're trying to be really careful and everything like that. It can take some time, and so a lot goes into these journals. When people do a video and show you their journal, I mean, a lot has gone into it. So I just wanted to kind of share that with you also. All right, I hope you'll stay tuned for my journal reveal, Sunflower series of Make a Journal with Me. And I thank you so much, and I'll see you in just a bit.